127 Hours, 2010. This is another film I saw years ago, but it's stayed with me, the impact of this film. It's the story of Aaron Ralston, and it stars James Franco. It's based on true life events, and I recall some of the details that were discussed at that time. And I remember talking about having seen this film when I did with a couple of friends, and one was fascinated, but the other flat out stopped the conversation. So I had to wait before I talked with the other one to explain what I thought of the film. And that's my cue to you that this is content warning territory because it involves something that is pretty squeamish. I found it quite difficult seeing the particular scenes that I will mention at some point in a couple of minutes, but don't watch this if you don't like descriptions of details. So, Aaron was, I suppose, a fitness addict. He was mountain biking. He would go tearing out into the desert, and he is, that's not a spoiler to say he is, a very confident young man. I could say he was, but that might sound like he's no longer with us. But um, just this particular story is he goes out for a ride into Kenyan country, and I know that term from Los Angeles County in California because there are quite a lot of canyons in that area, that sort of desert landscape. But I think this applies in Arizona, somewhere like that. It looks, sandstone. It looks a beautiful area, but like with desert landscapes, it looks really isolating and tough if you're alone. But Aaron seems sure he can cope alone with absolutely anything, and that could be his downfall. Um, and this particular week, he gets into a pickle, and as I say, there's a warning because he gets stuck in such a position in there's some sort of kind of rockfall. His arm gets lodged in a way that traps him, and he can't go for help, and he's all by himself, and he needs to amputate his own arm to escape, to survive. And that is one serious predicament to be in. Um, and the whole idea of 127 hours, that's um, a large chunk of a week. That's 5 days, more or less. So his drive for thrill seeking, excitement, the um, overshore state that he gets himself into, to some extent, it has shades of Free Solo, which I reviewed recently, but he hasn't got a partner to worry about him, I don't think. He um, There's a point where he calls his mum and leaves a message, and he's kind of contrite at that point. He doesn't know what's going to happen. Um, I, uh, the whole thing about whether the cell phone reception works when you're trapped halfway down a crevice in such a remote area. Um, well, to go back a few steps, to go back to the start of day one, when he's like mountain biking through the desert canyons, he meets a couple of women and he takes them to a spot that he knows will impress them. It's beautiful because They can climb down this crevasse, and there's a certain point where you lodge in your body, but you can let go, and it's all about the trust. Would you let yourself go? I mean, these women are trusting him, and he does let go, and he falls into this pool of water a long way below, and both the women do the same. They'll survive. One thing about that type of situation, and I often wonder with plunge pool type scenarios, in pool parties, anything like that, people leap into water, but what happens if someone's already in the water at the direct point where they're going to land? Do they get knocked out? Isn't it a bit dangerous? So I always wonder about that. I mean, if you fall into the water and if you're in this sort of position where you're um, in a crevasse above a pool, I suppose it's incumbent on the people below to swim out of the way to get out of the way. But how do you know that they have got out of the way so that you can fall into completely free water and not knock them out and kill them possibly? Um, I don't really know about that sort of the physics of falling into water. Does it? I don't know. Um, but I'm sort of wonder about, I mean, for one thing, after he's met and impressed these two young women, he goes off on his expedition, um, doing some rock climbing down these crevasses, and then he dislodges a rock, and this sizable rock falls in such a way that it does trap his arm. And he's got a penknife, so he tries to uh, dig away at it. He hopes that he can manage to free his arm, but the hours go by, days and nights go by. I think he looks up and he sees an aeroplane overhead. It's like he's got that connection to the outside world, and yet he's there, just stuck in this spot, unable to communicate with the rest of the world. No one's out there looking for him. Don't suppose there's any cell town near enough to help triangulate his exact location. And it's also like 15 years before now, so I don't know how good the technology was, certainly in a desert location like this. He's got a lot of time, and he has to figure out what he's going to do, and his life, you see all these flashbacks, his life flashes before him, but at a really slow rate because his film is a couple hours or going on for that, but it reflects 127 hours. And um, I, I remember once getting stuck about 4 years ago, July 2021. I was out walking in a forest in a forestry commission on on land where there was a sign saying some areas may be very difficult to navigate. So it was a warning sign, but it didn't say don't proceed. And I took a path that I thought would lead somewhere, and it got so treacherous. All these fallen trees that I kept having to clamber over, and I was getting exhausted. And I was thinking, what direction am I going? I couldn't even see the mountains around me. It was, where do I go? How do I get out of this situation? I did find a way out, but and that is several stages short of what Aaron in this film has to do, because what he has to do is a matter of life and death. And what I thought I might have to do eventually is call mountain rescue or something, call for help. I didn't want to do that because that's really embarrassing. And I thought I really need to try and get to um, back to civilization so I can you know, get on my way home. I don't, but being on your own anywhere, the first thing, the first rule really is tell other people when you're going on an expedition, explain to people, leave a note so that if you don't turn up in 12 hours or whatever, 24 hours certainly, someone can come and look for you. But he was there for days. Um, and he's there wondering, well, so I saw this film at what was Cineworld Haymarket, and I remember when it got to the point where his water was running out and he had to start taking his penknife to actually cause harm to himself. I mean, it's harm to save his life. Sometimes, I mean, people say about do no harm. Sometimes, I mean, there are circumstances where it's the only way out. Um, you know, um, the um, the tension though, when he starts to hack away at his own arm, you know, going through the flesh, but then going down to the nerves, the sound effects, and the sound effects again remind me of Rules of Attraction from 2002. I find all that really palpable. It really sound effects and visuals, just the power of imagination. It can really um, have such an impact on me, and that's something that this film did. I mean, James Franco is excellent in films like this. I think the whole film is just brilliantly done, um, and I, you know, I mean, it's a testament, as mentioned in the trailer, it's a testament to the will to live, the power to keep going, the power to actually make a decision that is going to be incredibly painful, but it's the only way that you're going to see people and continue to live. Um, and it's an amazing thing, is life. And so this is an extremely life affirming film, and I recommend it for that. Um, so incredibly squeamish, painful, but a fascinating film. And I'm going to score it 8.25. And if I see it again, I will do a Kelly seconds and I will go back and check what I wrote when I first saw the film. Well, let me know what you think if you've seen this film. Thanks for watching. Please like if you like this review. Please hit that notification button. Thanks for subscribing. I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.